Hello everyone, how's it going? How's it going? I think today we're looking at chapter 1 of Create Advanced Industries. This is a mod pack that my friend Alvin made. So we're looking at my solution to this chapter, straight to andesite mechanisms. As a extra credit, we also did, let's see, andesite casings, which is in getting started. This one right here, this is automated as well. And we have andesite alloy being stockpiled, or I say stockpiled. It's in the system somewhere. And as a bonus, the chapter gives you infinite iron and cobble, but and wood actually. So we're stockpiling all three of those, and I'm gonna take a look. I'm in cinematic mode, so I'm gonna drop that. That's not how scaffolding works. I'm gonna drop that, and we're gonna take a look at how I solved it. So this is a minecart assembler cobblestone generator setup. We have down there just a minecart. It's a contraption. Minecart contraptions are a little bit easier to work with than some of the other contraptions because they don't despawn and they don't break when chunks break because they're minecarts. And Minecraft loves minecarts. We have it set up like this because this little PSI will talk to that one. But if you make it go past the PSI twice, so if the rail goes a little bit farther, it'll actually touch it twice, and that's lower throughput. So this lets us break 8 blocks at a time. You can see it in action in a second. Oh, it's 9 at a time. In a second, and it'll just drop straight down here through the chute. And if we want to turn it off, we can disassemble it just like that. My here will stop. And if I get it out of there, come on. What the? It'll reassemble itself just like that. And I can stop it here or I can stop it there. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to push it again. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, this is a simple cobble gen setup. We have lava on top, used sparingly. And the water here. Like that. Over here, since you need infinite cobble for the recipe over there, but I'll explain that in a second. So over here we have our tree farm. Similar concept, but because trees take a lot longer to grow than cobble takes to spawn, and we can see one spawn right there, perfect. Pose for the picture. Boom, and there's a barrel there. It'll empty, and it'll come back. So this does run into the problem of touching the storage interface twice, but again, because trees grow so slowly, we don't need that much throughput. The problem with cobble's throughput, the problem with wood, actually is mostly throughput as well. But if we wanted to expand it, we could just keep building that way. We could multiply it by 2. Really depends. I choose oak here because I like apples. Apples are free food. And oh, in the early game in this mod, you don't have access to brass, so there's no filtering, which means we have to use a 2x2 here to make sure we're getting everything. In this setup, I make sure the wood is on the top left corner because funnels will pull from the last inventory slot first, which in this case is an apple, or the bottom right corner, and then it'll pull saplings and then sticks, and then it'll pull the wood finally. Because we have void upgrades on all 3 of these drawers, we can actually ensure that this system doesn't clog with those random particulates, like this one pulls the sapling first and the stick next, and then wood last, and that way, that we don't start dropping like wood everywhere and start lagging the server or your world. These all have void upgrades in them. None of these have void upgrades in them. That's probably the most necessary one. Okay, apple's the most. Yeah, and the next step of this process is we're actually immediately processing the logs, so we don't stockpile the logs at all. If I need logs, I'll just go here and I'll grab some logs over here. I'm gonna process them into stripped wood because the rest of the process, every step requires stripped wood. You can make cogwheels directly from stripped wood with shafts. And this one turns stripped wood into slabs for the actual mechanisms over there. Luckily for me, we're overflowing on wood at the moment, so I don't lose my wood backlog. So technically we are stockpiling wood. That's nice. And then let's take a look at how we process the cobble. Over here we have a little setup for washing the gravel. So cobble gets crushed into gravel. This is a belt into chute into crushing wheels. These are not accessible until later in the game, but I did spawn in a create house over there, so we get access to crushing wheels. You could just use a millstone here, but you get a lot less throughput. So if you want to use a millstone here, I would probably use like 4 and just push it through, and then combine it in a belt later. This is a lot more compact, so I'm doing it this way. Then this belt over here, since we're not shooting the output of the crushing wheels onto the belt, they kind of just fall and become little entities. You can see that there's entities if I turn the particles off. And the encased fan is actually behind the crushing wheels. If there's a chute there, it blocks the encased fan's output. So we actually don't want that because it prevents us from washing the entire belt. And we can increase our throughput a lot significantly here because we're washing the entire belt and all the entities kind of clump up and stack at the end over here and then land on the belt. Over here we're voiding, or not voiding that, voiding flint, excess flint. This is just a 1x2 to let me sort items. Prevents the gravel from actually going in. And then over here is the automatic compacting drawer. This is a simple compacting drawer, which lets me compact any excess iron nuggets directly into ingots, so I don't have to use a press. And then we just combine each step of this process into first andesite, cobble and flint makes andesite. Andesite and iron nuggets. There's flint in here. Should not be flint in there. Iron nuggets and andesite makes andesite alloy. And then we have a very tucked away belt underneath everything else. Over here that just spits out andesite alloy. They're touching lips. Licks lips. Never lick my lips again. So we have andesite alloy coming here. These are for the mechanisms. So the slide through for mechanisms. The ones there are turned into shafts and immediately deployed as shafts over here. This is shaft. This one has cogwheels, and cogwheels are made by deploying stripped wood, stripped logs onto another shaft. So we have 2 saws under here that turn things into shafts, and then we have a deployer on the first one. And that makes andesite mechanisms. I've been stockpiling these for a while. I've kind of been here for a while, working this through. Yes. Looks like we're doing good over here. And that is chapter 1. Oh, I forgot a step. And the strip logs go by prioritizing the mechanisms first. And then the last strip log goes here for the casings. And we actually bring... So this deployer brings andesite alloy from this belt, or sorry, this mechanical arm brings andesite alloy from this belt onto that chute. And again, this mechanical arm is from the crate house over there. So we're in the brass age, where we have access to a limited subset of brass age technology, without actually doing any brass. It's nice. Alternatively, you could kind of do anything to get it up there, maybe even raise a belt like I did over there with the cobble, but this is the last thing I put down, so let's ignore that for now. And AK6, big. Take a nap. Ominous number. And that is chapter 1. Complete.